From this point forward, the word cheese will be bleeped because Michael finds it offensive.
Hello and welcome to the Fine Dining Podcast, the search for the most mediocre restaurant in America. I'm your host, Michael Ornelas, and I'm on a mission. I'm looking for that perfect 5.00 out of 10, that litmus test that you can use to evaluate whether something is good or bad. Something right in the middle. What's the bar? So far, it's Applebee's sitting at a 5.02, but that's not quite perfectly mediocre, so the search is ongoing. Now, I go to these chain restaurants because, of course, that's where mediocrity resides, and I'm evaluating them based on their atmosphere, based on their service, and based on their food. And this week, I was joined by an equally mediocre guy. my friend, my buddy, my pal, Michael Moore. Not the director, not the documentarian, just another guy named Michael Moore.
Yes, I think more handsome.
Yeah.
Than you.
No. I'm not conceding that point.
Well, I mean, this is a show about mediocrity.
Yeah.
So, you know.
But I'm a handsome dude.
I feel like this is, appropriate for both of us. We're in that 5.0. I mean, maybe not as good as Applebee's, but I think like right in the middle.
This is going to be a solo podcast for the rest of the episode. Thanks for joining me. You took a bit of a trek with me. We went out to Texas Roadhouse yesterday.
God. Yeah.
And the closest one was about an hour and a half away. It was a long drive.
Yes.
And you endured it with me, so thank you.
I know. I felt like Lawrence just going through the desert, just covered in sand. And I mean, it was pretty miserable because I had to, ride with you. Are you going to do that the entire?
No, I'm cutting that.
Oh, okay.
If I'm gassy, it's not going to stay in. Just don't acknowledge it. I will cut it.
Okay.
But now I have to leave it in.
Sure.
Yeah.
And, we'll get more into the bodily functions later in the episode. That's kind
I don't want that to be a part of my podcast, and yet every episode it is. And I think that's my lot in life, going to these restaurants.
Yeah, that's exactly it. You're going to all these places. It is a given, but I will say there are some important updates in that department. So that's why I'm bringing it up.
We're not going to be graphic, but...
No, of course not, but I am setting it up for the payoff later.
Wow.
There is a payoff.
You are like filmmaker Michael Moore.
Yes. Yeah. Just shoving microphones in the managers at Texas Roadhouse saying,
That's what you did. You were trying to find the conspiracy going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us the truth for the American people, you know?
All right, stop saying, I can tell you're going to force saying America a bunch.
I was going to wait later to say this, but honestly, like the budget that you have allotted for your eagle sound effect, you're going to go into debt.
I just recovered from my Red Robin episode, and it is months later, so.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Fine dining party of two.
All right, well, we've been talking too long. Our table is ready. We'll get to it.
Your table is ready, follow me. Have you tried our chicken breast? Serving pancakes and ribs, I recommend the spaghetti. We're here to satisfy, not to impress. Your table is ready, complimentary butter and bread. These walls have road signs, knick-knack, cowboy hat, good luck cat, autographed guitar, some crap from your city. Behold the tchotchke of mediocrity. Fine dining, just fine dining, fine dining. Letters on the sign aren't shining. Neon flickering, irregular timing. Identify the perfect five out of 10. Fine dining. Fine dining.
First impressions.
Okay, so before we can even talk about the parking lot, I did have a while in the car with you. And you had a bit of a panic.
I did, yes. So I preemptively brought a giant thing of Tums because
you knew.
Yeah, I knew this was going to be
a tumultuous meal.
Yeah, because like any other person in the country, their nearest Texas Roadhouse is like 15, 20 minutes away.
I appreciate you saying in the country instead of name dropping the country. I appreciate that.
America.
No. Damn it.
So I preemptively brought some because like that's an hour and a half back. And that's a lot for
you're
that
being
kind
considerate.
of food.
Yeah, you're being considerate of what I have to sit next to.
I'm just looking out for my well-being as
Oh,
well.
okay.
So,
I was trying to give you the benefit of altruism, but I guess not.
But does Tums help with gas? I just thought it helped with
I don't know.
stomach ache and
So you're still gassy. You just don't feel pain.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. But then you didn't have the Tums.
Right.
And it's not the thought that counts in this. I mean, we could talk about the drive home, last impressions. It was just so much like, oh my God, oh my God. The amount of times I just heard that and then just like a, and then a,
yeah.
I heard that
Oh,
sequence.
thank God it's over.
I heard that sequence a solid like dozen times. Oh God, oh God. No apology. But
so yes, I did bring the Tums, but the problem was that I accidentally left them in my car.
right.
So I didn't have them in your car as we were going through the desert to find them. So it was moot.
Once we actually got to Texas Roadhouse, it could not have been more of a parody of itself if it tried. It was literally, I opened the car door and I just hear, like, just like
Stadium country.
country, guitar blaring. And I was just like, they know what they are.
Yeah.
And I got to give that to them.
Yeah. Self-awareness is a very useful characteristic
Yeah. But
of
like
somebody's personality.
And the parking lot was packed.
Yeah. We got there at 5:00
on the dot.
Yeah.
And
Every space was taken.
they also had
I mean, we eventually found a space.
5
obviously.
handicap spots, a veteran spot, 3 to-go spots just sitting in front. All of those packed, just like,
Yes.
because I will commit stolen valor for good parking.
Yeah.
That's a joke. I respect.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service. Actually, inside you walk in and they have a tribute that it just says TXRH, obviously Texas Roadhouse, hero. And then a bunch of photos of individuals in their military uniform. And then a little Etsy-style chalkboard beneath it. We heart our local veterans. Send us a picture of your veteran.
Yes.
Which makes it sound like a pet.
Yeah. Wake him up.
Wake him up from his nap.
Yeah. Take a picture of him.
And send it to Texas Roadhouse. He's like looking at the camera confused because he just woke up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But first, you actually have to get it printed off at CVS, developed, and then mail it to us.
Well, it's specifically send us a picture of your veteran at texasroadhouse.com.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like a fax number. You know, that it's so antiquated.
Fax us a picture of your veteran.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also noticed so much space for waiting, like a Six Flags amount of space for waiting.
Because the parking lot was full. Clearly, they preemptively know, like, oh, this is the hot spot.
This was so far out of LA. This was in Rialto.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you wondering, basically its biggest claim to fame is that it happens to be between LA and Vegas.
Yes.
And a non-determinate amount away from both of those destinations.
Yeah, and like the elevation was high, like almost in the mountains, so it was a little alarming because I mean, I'm from the South and I'm used to like trees everywhere.
Uh-huh.
So it was wild to get out of the car and just see the restaurant and then sky. Like it was just the one thing.
And nothing. So it's like, of course it's packed because it's the only thing to do for miles around unless you'd prefer Cracker Barrel. And those are the two things.
Yes. So, I mean, all that's around there is a Cracker Barrel and a closed Kmart.
Yeah.
But talking about Cracker Barrel, because the Cracker Barrel was across the street, when we got there, they told us that the wait would be an hour.
No, well, not the Cracker Barrel, the Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, yeah.
And so you were trying to be like, do we go to Cracker Barrel? And I'm like, I'm not calling an audible. I invited you to Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah.
And we went at 5 p.m. on a Saturday night. You expect a little bit of a wait.
But not
an hour would have felt tragic.
Yeah.
But
especially like that we had already driven 2 hours through the desert to get here. And now
don't say through the desert as though we were like strapped for water. I mean, we were Tumsless, but like we weren't like on donkey back.
Sure. Yeah. We weren't like, Don Quixote going through and fighting windmills, but but I was a little incensed of like, before we even sit down, I have invested 3 hours into this. 2 hour trek.
Luckily,
yeah,
that's not how it happened. They kind of, it's like reverse edging. They just they give you an hour wait, and then they literally called for us 4 minutes later.
Yes. Yeah,
And
if that. And
I wonder if it's like a strategy
sure.
to like dash your hopes and then make you excited. They bring you
Right.
into the TXRH.
Yes, make you feel like that they're going above and beyond.
Yeah.
You know, like, don't worry. Like, we pull some strings. We were able to get you and your idiot friends in.
The host stand even referred to us as lucky. They were like, you guys are so lucky. Like,
Yeah.
almost in like a passive aggressive way.
And you know what was funny is that I saw people like waiting that
Yeah.
were in smaller parties than us.
Mm.
But somehow.
Oh, so we got to leapfrog because we had a
Yeah.
party of 5, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Which is even better. That made me a little happy.
Because they're not going to give a party of 4 a 6 top
Yeah.
if they have 5 people waiting.
Right.
Oh, man. We
Yeah.
did luck out. I'm so glad that our party ended up coming as is, like the full 5 people.
Sure. And let me see, like, anything else.
I mean, neon galore.
Yes.
Beer signs. They had a cactus blossom, like their Bloomin' Onion knockoff
Mm-hmm.
in neon,
Yeah.
and I want it.
Yeah, just hanging up in your place. And, like, there's another one that said Budweiser and steak. Like, all right, you've nailed it. What do we have?
You
We have
know what you are.
Yeah.
You're a
Hey.
Bloomin' Onion knockoff. Your steak and your beer.
Yeah. And then I've been to Texas Roadhouse plenty of times.
I have no distinct memory of if I have.
Okay.
If I have, it was forever ago.
So let me set up like the typical Texas Roadhouse experience. So you go in, talk to the hostess or whatever, and on the floor is just
Crunch.
just a thick layer of trash and peanut shells,
Right.
where they have a giant barrel where you just grab a handful of peanuts, you eat them, and you're like,
And
you
not
know,
a clean hand.
no, the dirtier the better.
Yeah.
And like all the peanuts haven't been washed or anything. Like they have like sawdust all
I
over
mean, to
them.
be fair, who's sitting there washing peanuts?
Yeah. So you grab them and you eat the peanuts and you're like, you know what? I don't want to throw these away. I can't be troubled with that. And then you just throw the
You
shells on the
drop
floor.
them where play it as it lies, basically.
Yes. And they sweep the floor about once a week
Mm-hmm.
and then they burn it. I don't know what they do. I guess that's how you get rid of peanut shells.
But in a post-COVID world,
Yes.
the
Now,
peanut policies changed.
yeah, like I went in and I was like, wow, this is very clean. There are only a few peanut shells on the ground.
I didn't even notice peanuts. There was a container that
Yeah.
was empty, but was clearly there for peanuts.
I think that I was just hyper aware and looking for the peanuts. You know, like
Yeah.
where do they keep their peanuts at?
I didn't notice until leaving.
Yes.
Leaving right next to the door, there was a box full of bagged peanuts, Texas Roadhouse branded peanuts.
Yes.
I took one to go. I threw it up on the tchotchke of mediocrity, the scoreboard that I use for all these restaurants.
Yeah.
And now Texas Roadhouse peanuts are going to be forever associated with the scoring of chain restaurants.
Yes. So I wonder what health hazard came in the way of them ending their peanut policy.
Well, it was either COVID or peanut allergies, but it definitely seems like a place that does not care about any food sensitivities
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But do you want to know more about just in general the history of this place?
Yeah. I mean,
Sound
I don't.
excited. Don't sound indifferent.
I mean, I don't, but you could tell me.
All right, well,
I
let's
mean,
go.
what's the investing history of Texas Roadhouse?
Oh, we'll talk numbers
okay.
as we get into this week's Eatery Details, aka Eat Deets. Content warning. This segment contains a mention of suicide, and if you'd like to skip it, skip from 30 minutes and 5 seconds for about 30 seconds. Enjoy your Eat Deets. Eat Deets. So as loyal listeners of the podcast know, my mom listens to every single episode of the show. And during season 1, when Eat Deets was known as Resty Fact Roundup, we were rounding up a bunch of restaurant facts and we had to whip them into place to do so. But she found that whip noise to be too abrasive for her listening pleasure. So then with Eat Deets, I was like, great, this'll be easy. And I made that sound effect that you just heard. Eat Deets. But she's also like, but I don't like the sound of people chewing. So then in the Katz's episode, I declared we are now entering Eat Deets, the easy listening era, the soundbite of easy listening.
Eatery details.
And now my mom's on the fence about that. So I don't know what to do. I'll probably still use that one, but just for this episode, Michael, what sound do you think is most appropriate for a Texas Roadhouse to punctuate each new Eat Deet?
I mean, honestly, it is the whip. I think
Great.
that the whip is the most appropriate for Texas Roadhouse.
All right, hit me. W. Kent Taylor opened the first Texas Roadhouse in Clarksville, Indiana in 1993.
I have family live in Indiana, and every time I go there, it just gets more redneck and redneck. So
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know where Clarksville is, but that does not surprise me.
Well, it's right across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky, which is where the headquarters for Texas Roadhouse is. So they're actually a Kentucky-based company who opened their first location in Indiana, but the founder initially wanted to make a Colorado-themed restaurant. And the first location was located inside of a mall. So not only are you a fake Texan, you're a fake Roadhouse.
Sure.
Since then, the company has grown to over 600 locations in 49 states and nearly 40 international locations in 10 foreign countries. And Texas does have the highest concentration of locations. They have 56 in the state of Texas.
Interesting. So that's like that Australia has the largest number
Concentration
of
of Outback Steakhouses.
Yeah, and that is not true.
The difference between Texas and Australia is Texas is like, someone's celebrating us? Fuck it.
Yeah.
Let's embrace. Like El Paso alone has 4 Texas Roadhouse locations.
Yeah. People from Texas love that they're from Texas.
I'm from Texas.
I know.
I'm okay that I'm from Texas. I mean,
Yeah.
I was also born in Chicago. I kind of identify both ways.
Mhm.
Texas Roadhouse serves 300,000 meals per day.
I have nothing to say about that.
Oh, you're going to get more facts and figures that are going to blow your stomach.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that later.
On average, restaurants can fit about 300 people. A Chili's or an Applebee's is about 200, so a little bit bigger. The average location serves 5,000 guests a week. 44% of the menu is steak.
I don't know why I find that so funny.
It's a big swing.
Yeah, it's not even like, I mean, at roadhouses, are they known for steak?
Oh, just like the concept of
Yeah.
a roadhouse?
Yeah.
I don't really know.
Okay.
They only serve lunch on the weekends.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because I had asked you, hey, is there any way we can just do the lunch? And you're like, no, they open at 3,
Right.
which is wild.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of like, if you're not familiar with K&W, that's like a cafeteria specifically like for the geriatric. And and my mom.
So a nursing home cafeteria, basically?
Yes, it is nursing home food.
Okay.
And I've told my mom many times that, like, she needs to get a fake ID if she wants to continue eating there. Like, you know.
To make her older?
Yeah,
Okay.
because they only allow in 60 plus or whatever.
Is that actually true?
No, that's just what I
Just
tell
their
her.
demo?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, totally.
It's like Luby's. Do you know Luby's?
No, I don't.
They're a cafeteria in Texas. It's kind of the same thing.
Gotcha.
You go in and it's like a sad nursing home at Thanksgiving. That's kind of the
Sure.
vibe.
Yeah.
Where like there's decorations, but like the amount of Life Alert bracelets you see is staggering.
Yeah.
Texas Roadhouse gives out 8 million pounds of free peanuts per year. I have a feeling that figure has changed post-COVID, but yeah. And that's about $20 million of peanuts.
That's insane. It's kind of like the rotisserie chicken at Costco, like that they
Do
intentionally.
they give it away?
Well, they don't give it away, but they keep it cheap so that you're more inclined to buy more stuff
Oh.
at Costco. Yeah. That's why it's always $5.
The Texas Roadhouse meat cutters hand-cut every steak in 34-degree Fahrenheit coolers and cut an average of $1 million of meat each year per store.
Wow, per store.
Yeah, it's a lot. And considering that they've got over 600 locations, it's $600 million
Of beef.
of meat cut
That's insane.
each year. Yeah. Famously, they claim everything is made from scratch in-house, but technically that's not true. The steak fries come frozen and they serve Kraft mac and
Well, I would believe that after our meal that it was made from scratch, like whatever scratches, like dust and, sawdust.
Whatever's on the countertop, and you do that hand motion where you swipe it into your waiting hand underneath. That's what they cook with.
That's where they keep the peanut shells. I just realized, like they use them to
to pad the food.
Yeah.
Yeah. The founder, Kent Taylor, met Willie Nelson at a concert, and the two hit it off. Now, each Texas Roadhouse restaurant has a Willie's Corner, a miniature museum dedicated to the career of Willie Nelson.
Wait, each location?
Each location. I saw no such Willie's Corner, but to be fair, I didn't travel to all of the corners of the restaurant.
Yeah.
So I will take them at their word that there was one, but I saw no such thing.
Well, when you decide to drive 2 hours back to Cracker Barrel, stop by the Texas Roadhouse, get some peanuts.
Me, one museum ticket, please.
Yeah, where's Willie's Corner at?
Yeah. In 2012, Consumer Reports magazine named Texas Roadhouse the loudest restaurant in America.
I am not surprised with the many distractions that were in the restaurant, which we'll get to later.
I mean, considering the stadium country guitar wailing when you get out of your car starts your experience.
And what's funny is that they don't even have speakers outside. That's just from inside the restaurant. You hear the
great impersonation
of stadium country.
Yeah. The steaks are cheap. For example, an 8-ounce steak at Texas Roadhouse costs $15.49. The same at Outback costs $18.99. And at Black Angus, an 8-ounce sirloin steak costs $23.99. The chain often sells steaks for below-going market value, cutting into potential profits, but knowing it is securing more volume because they're so loud. Texas Roadhouse is the biggest steakhouse in America by sales. In 2021, it earned a whopping $3.717 billion in sales, while the next largest chain, Outback, was a distant follower with $2.621 billion. So they're basically 50% more of Outback sales.
That's pretty wild.
Beef makes up about 45% of cost of goods sold at Texas Roadhouse, compared to about 33% at competitors. To protect against beef price hikes, the restaurant signs 24-month term beef contracts with suppliers. Logan's Roadhouse only signs 6 to 12-month contracts with its suppliers. So they're basically able to lock in low prices for longer, and then as the prices hike, they can keep them low and look better compared to their competitors.
Gotcha. Have you been to a Logan's?
I have not, but there is one not that far from the Texas Roadhouse that we went to.
Oh, that's good.
Have you been to Logan's?
Yeah.
Is it better?
Much.
Is it really?
I think so, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think that Logan's is much better. So, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if you want to go since, like, it's kind of good food, but I do enjoy it.
I mean, they're a chain restaurant. Like, they're totally eligible. I went to Mastro Steakhouse, okay? Everything's out the window. I don't care what's good or what's bad. I'm looking for mediocrity. That doesn't mean I'm going to find it every week.
Sure.
But I'll go somewhere on a hunch.
Yeah, and, propping up local restaurants and,
they're all
businesses.
National chains. Literally every single one I'm doing
yeah.
is not a mom and a pop.
So here's the one statistic that I do want to know. Like, all these are interesting, and I'm like, the one that I do want to know about, what was the Bloomin' Onion ripoff?
The Cactus Blossom.
The Cactus Blossom. How many of those do they sell? And then how many of those are vomited out after they're eaten? I think it's a good 60%.
Tell you. Oh, you're just talking about the what percentage is expelled?
Yeah,
vertically.
Yes, yeah.
Nearing 90%.
Okay, yeah, that sounds accurate.
Yeah, and factual. I didn't just pull that number out of my butt. According to a Reddit thread, servers are required to line dance at certain times and are often monitored by secret shoppers to ensure compliance.
Oh my God. Okay, have you heard of this show? And definitely, I have a lot of thoughts about the dancing. So have you heard of a show called Mystery Diners?
No.
Okay, so it is, I think it only ran for 2 seasons, but it is
TV show, YouTube series?
TV show.
Okay.
On I don't even think it was good enough for Food Network. It was like on Destination America or something like that.
Love it.
And it is these restaurants that contact this guy who is charismatic as cardboard. and they are trying to set up sting operations to catch like their managers or the employees doing things that are like against company policy. Now you would think like spitting in food or using
or looking at your cell phone under the counter because your wife's in labor, but you're on the clock.
Well, honestly, they are significantly dumber. They're like, one that I saw was this guy being accused of rigging like bingo night
for his buddies.
Yeah, for his buddies, so they get free drinks or
That's
whatever.
actually great.
And then like there's something called the Chunkies Challenge at some restaurant where you eat like a giant sandwich, and apparently they thought that one of the employees was helping people eat it, so they would get like a like a gift certificate or whatever.
I would never partake in anything that was called the Chunkies Challenge.
Yeah. And what they do is that they hire 50 actors to be like the guests in the restaurant, and they put up 1,000 cameras in the restaurant.
So it's like a flash mob, basically.
It is a flash mob, very serious sting operation. And then like all the crew is in the back watching, like they're taking out some terrorist organization, but it's,
They're all just gathered around monitors and they're like,
yes,
sending in SEAL Team 6.
Yeah. And instead it's about, oh, I think he might be taking some of the cheese home with him. Like, I mean, it's so stupid.
He walks out of the restaurant immediately into the back of a cop car in cuffs. We got him. They tackle him.
Yeah. So like the fact that you mentioned that they hire
secret shoppers. Yeah.
Secret Service members to make sure.
I didn't say Secret Service members. I said secret shoppers. According to a Texas Roadhouse training manual, female servers are forbidden from wearing makeup with loud colors.
How? What?
I don't know. It's the loudest restaurant in America. So,
yeah, so it's weird that they have that one policy.
Let's allow like a bright yellow, okay?
Yeah.
They have a blooming onion knockoff called a cactus blossom.
Oh, is this the statistic of how many are...
No. But apparently you can ask for pulled pork on top.
Why?
Because I hate my body. You might know this, but steaks are weighed before cooking, so a 6-ounce steak will not actually be 6 ounces on the plate. But one customer got pissed he was served a small steak. He actually pulled out a digital scale from his toolbox in the restaurant and weighed it in at 3.5 ounces. Texas Roadhouse gave him a complimentary actual 6-ounce steak after he posted the video.
What is he, a drug dealer? He just carries around like a scale with him?
Yeah, I and all the comments online were like split between people calling him a Karen and others saying he was holding Texas Roadhouse accountable.
Oh, absolutely. This pinching and diming, if that's the expression.
Pitching and diming. Yeah, we all know what pinching and diming is. Yeah. There's an unofficial Texas Roadhouse roll challenge. The winning video on Twitter seems to be a guy that ate 92 rolls in one sitting, which is 23 baskets.
Oh, God.
I ate one roll today, one leftover roll, and I told you when you arrived, I feel heavy.
Yeah.
From one.
And how many? It was 90?
92 rolls in one sitting. 23 baskets.
Man, that is...
They brought us 4 baskets for 5 people, and I was overwhelmed.
That is 4 bottles of Tums.
Now I want to talk a little bit about the founder. Kent Taylor designed the restaurant concept on a cocktail napkin, which, I don't know, I feel like is just a thing that you hear about.
It's so funny because, like, Bob Dylan wrote a lot of his greatest lyrics on cocktail napkins, so I'm glad that, like, it's the same tool.
I don't care what you wrote it on. Like, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
You had the idea, whatever.
Yeah, and that's more accurate. It's not a great idea. Texas Roadhouse is just an idea.
It's an idea.
Yeah.
It's an idea that was executed.
Yes.
And that was it. Earlier in his career, he managed restaurants for Bennigan's and KFC. Innovations he adopted at KFC stores, like hot wings, only got him in trouble. This is a quote, "KFC was too bureaucratic for him," said a friend. Because when I think of KFC, I think of orderly process.
Yeah. It's like Congress, there's just gridlock every day at KFC.
Company lore has it that Taylor was turned down more than 80 times while trying to raise money. He once tried unsuccessfully to chase down basketball legend Larry Bird in an airport to pitch him. Like, imagine just being Larry Bird and a guy's like, Larry, Texas Roadhouse. He's like,
Yeah.
what?
To invest or just like, hey, can you come to my horrible restaurant?
I mean, I assume to invest.
Sure.
Looking for startup funds. He's like, oh, you're a rich basketball player.
Yeah.
Years later, he founded a sports bar chain called Bubba's 33 and a fast food chicken joint called Jaggers. Both only have a few locations currently.
Wait, so there's 2 food chains named Bubba?
There's Bubba's 33.
And then Bubba's...
Bubba Gump.
Bubba Gump, yeah.
Right. In March 2021, Taylor died by suicide. He had been suffering for months from extreme COVID-19 symptoms and had really bad tinnitus, which was apparently a contributing factor.
Oh, wow. I'm a little sad now.
It is very sad.
It is.
Yeah.
Not quite as sad as how I felt after eating the food, but...
I would argue maybe sadder. Jesus. 3 separate people have sued Texas Roadhouse after injuring their kneecaps slipping on peanut shells on the floor.
See, I'm telling you, like, it's just shit everywhere.
One of them was awarded $43,000 in the lawsuit.
And now, a word from our totally not made up sponsor.
Greetings. It's me once again, Harrison Augustine Flying Money Water Emoji Arrylius the 14th, a name that really slides off the tongue. And speaking of sliding, what are these people doing? You slip and slide on a few peanut shells and you're suing the corporations? Corporations are people too, mind their feelings. If I had a rare gem for every time I heard corporations victimized, I'd have a meteorite's worth of precious metals. But alas, I just have an actual meteorite. It's in a display case in my bedroom that no one but me gets to enjoy. I outbid the Smithsonian for it. But no, if you're too feeble-footed and you fall in a restaurant, that's on you. Just go get a bionic knee replacement like a normal person. Don't be a Karen, a phrase that's offensive to my actual mother, Karen. My sweet mom, currently recovering from a separated shoulder she got from poking an airline employee in the chest while calmly screaming, "Do you know who I am?" But in her defense, how do you not recognize a woman who set the Guinness World Record for most appearances in Do Not Serve This Customer corkboards? And that's worldwide. Anyways, I must be going. I'm packing a suitcase full of cash that I'm going to conveniently misplace on the steps of the Supreme Court. Toodaloo.
A woman sued Texas Roadhouse after a manager tried to cover her breast with a napkin as she breastfed her baby. She sued for emotional pain and suffering plus the cost of therapy. 2 days after posting a Facebook rant about it, a group of 50 nursing mothers staged a nurse-in at the restaurant in protest.
So they stormed the Texas Roadhouse.
Yeah, and they all just breastfed.
Oh,
yeah.
That's an interesting protest.
Yeah. You know, I went back to Chuck E. Cheese and there was a woman breastfeeding at, you know, those like photo strip booths?
Yes.
There was one that no curtain, like it wasn't a private area.
Yeah.
She was not looking for privacy. She was looking for photos.
Sure.
She literally put the quarter in and was posing for photos while breastfeeding her child.
She should have done it on like one of the little kids' car rides or
where you like put in a quarter and like the motion is basically nothing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also like the helicopter that goes up and down. That would have been nice.
I think capturing it for
posterity and for history.
Like, hey, Jamie, look what I did for you.
Yeah.
A veteran service dog who worked in Afghanistan got some free meals at a Texas Roadhouse, but apparently some of the comments online to this article were calling for the restaurant to be shut down because of a dog eating off a fork. This is a place that respects its veterans, but clearly the clientele doesn't.
Yeah.
One server wore different hairstyles and tracked her tips. If you had to guess, hairstyle that gets the most tips.
Ponytail?
High ponytail.
Okay.
The high pony. That was the winning horse. And that does it for this week's Eat Deets.
Eatery details.
We need a little yelp, a little yelp from strangers. A 1-star, 2-star, 3-star, 4 or 5. So get a little Yelp, a little Yelp from strangers. A little Yelp, a little Yelp. Give us those complaints while you literally whine and dine. Yelp!
All right, this is Yelp from Strangers, the segment where I go to Yelp and read out our favorite 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5-star Yelp reviews about the very Texas Roadhouse that we went to. And Michael, I want to start us off right in the middle, okay? I want to see someone who just had a middling time.
Right.
What are they getting out of a Texas Roadhouse?
Yeah.
3-star review.
This is from Alex P. 1 year ago, he's done 234 Yelp reviews, and in that time has only made one friend on Yelp.
Kind of like Taylor Swift only following like 1 or 2 people. Exactly the same.
This is basically Taylor Swift writing a Yelp review.
Yeah.
First time here and went with 4 friends. Discovered the Texas Roadhouse in Corona that does steak great. In bold now, catfish. Amazing and great service. So really drawing your eye to catfish here. With that being the measuring stick Rialto cone up way short. Food was okay, not great. Service was very subpar. 5 of us went with 2 kids we all ordered and the meals came out in 4 separate deliveries. The female kid getting her meal last. The female kid, like, do you mean your daughter? Your niece? I don't know what she was. The female kid.
There's a lot of personal things in this review.
The female kid getting her meal last after one us asked the server to bring her before his. They're
like, she better get hers before our son does.
That was a labyrinthian sentence structure. Didn't happen that way. They mentioned they had only been opened 9 days. So much room for improvement. We'll go to Corona till this one improves if they do.
Why not just stick to the Corona one?
Yeah, you seem to like the Corona one.
Yeah, it sounds like the gold standard.
Just go there. Yeah. Thanks, Alex P.
1-star review.
So there's going to be a through line
with
all of these reviews. Because, like, on a lot of them, there was one specific item that was mentioned quite a bit. So this is...
If only we could highlight it in bold.
Yeah. So here is a 1-star review.
Okay.
So this is from 6 months ago from Cassandra. Worst fried catfish I have ever eaten. And their mac and cheese was dried out straight from the box mac and cheese.
Was that the whole review?
That was it. Short to the point. So she really did not like the catfish. The previous person,
Alex P, all about the
catfish
Corona
amazing.
Location catfish.
Yeah.
Rialto, not so much.
Yes. And it's very varied opinions about this specific item.
4-star review.
Well, let's keep it going then. I'll go back into positivity now. A 4-star review from Rochelle H. 1 year ago. So excited we have a Texas Wait, did you bold it?
What? Did I bold it?
The word catfish is in bold. Did you do like a highlight on your search?
I think so, yeah, because like it kept coming up so frequently that I was like, let's just look up and see how many times catfish.
So the fact that catfish is bolded every time in every review, that's your doing. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So excited we have a Texas Roadhouse so close to home. We frequently go and enjoy the onion blossom, extra crispy catfish. We get the 4-piece catfish dinner just so we can have leftovers another day. All in caps. We have yet to explore more on the menu.
Just the catfish. So the 1-star
We've never had the rolls.
Yeah.
No peanuts.
Yes. So the 1-star and the 4-star people, they've only eaten the catfish.
Once we tasted these, we were hooked. The steaks are huge. Love the buttery rolls. Wait, you have tasted other things on the menu. You've had the rolls. Someone ordered the steak, unless you're looking at another table and just like, they're big.
Those steaks are big over there.
Usually a long wait, but worth it and trying open table. All right, 4 stars.
So yes, the through line, if you weren't able to catch, was catfish, because I was just so entranced that like 40% of the menu.
44% of the menu
44.
is steak.
If I remember, like, it's an entire page of the menu, and that people saw that and just went, nope.
People
and
went,
turned the page.
what else, though?
Yeah. And that's so many people. You know what? Let's go to a steakhouse and get catfish. Out of all things.
I mean, they're kind of catfishing us as a steakhouse.
Sure, it's
by
kinda
offering other things.
It's like getting green beans at Shake Shack, in my opinion, you know?
What side do you want? I'll have the apple slices. No, you don't want that.
Yeah.
Okay, we know you want the waffle fries.
We don't even know why it's on the menu. Corporate.
Forced it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can go download our full Yelp from Strangers segment at our Patreon. The link for that is in the description of this episode, or you can go to patreon.com/finediningpodcast. And we're now offering a 1-week free trial, so what do you have to lose? Go check it out. People have wild opinions, and we get to read oh so many of them. Thanks. Okay, so you've heard the history of Texas Roadhouse. We've read you some Yelp reviews. This is the end of part 1. Join us next week as we cover our review of Texas Roadhouse.
Man, I'm on the edge of my seat. I can't wait.
You have to wait a whole week, Michael.
I know.
You literally have to come back here and re-record with me at a later date instead of sticking around and recording part 2 and me releasing it later.
Yeah.
I'm method. Well, thanks for joining me. Is there anything for the next week for people to pass the time you want them to go do to support you? Where can they find you?
Well, there's actually a really interesting dude that I've gotten to know. He's a magician here local in Los Angeles.
Uh-huh.
And I know you're looking at me thinking, Michael knows a magician? Yes. He's a really interesting dude. His name is the Great Dumb Deanie. Great name, isn't it?
Sure.
Yeah. From what
it's dumb.
Yeah, from what he told me, it was actually a reference to a famous magic duo at the turn of the century in the early 1900s named Dumb and Dumber. So that's where
Really?
Yeah, that's where the name comes from.
Huh.
I think he's not telling the truth, though.
I love that.
All magicians are liars.
He's told you his entire backstory and you're plugging him.
Yes.
It's almost like he's like a religious cult leader who's getting people to spread the word on his behalf.
I don't think he's smart enough. So
it's in the name.
But he's on Instagram at the Great Dumb Deanie. You can look at the
DUMDINI.
DUMDINI. Yes.
Gotcha.
The Great Dumb Deanie.
Well, great.
Yeah, he's just a really interesting dude. So you should just go.
Everyone go follow at the Great Dumb Deanie on Instagram, and he bears a striking resemblance to you. I do have to say that.
Yeah, he does.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining. We'll see you all next week for our review of Texas Roadhouse. Get ready.
Waiting on our table, waiting on our table. Prep is done and we had some fun. Now we're waiting on our table, waiting on our table. Join us next time, we're stuck in line. Waiting on our table, waiting on our table. We're so hungry, tummy's grumbling. Waiting on our table, waiting on our table. We gotta continue our search for mediocrity.
Have a fine day.